Are you ready for Halloween? Because if you aren't, Mr. Pumpkin over here has some spooky recommendations for you. Hey guys, it's Kat and welcome back to bookocraze. Today I'm here with 10 new or upcoming releases of 2020. All of them are perfect Halloween reads because they include fantasy, magic, witches, and they're mostly young adult or adult. But the point is one, they're all perfect for Halloween. So let's get right into it. The first few books I'm going to talk about are all going to be released or have been released during October. So they're pretty fresh. I will present them in order of release. The first book I'm going to talk about is The Invisible Life of Adilbu by V. Schwab. The tagline is "A life no one will remember, a story you will never forget." It includes elements of historical fiction because it begins in 1714 when Adilbu makes a Faustian Bergen to live forever. But the catch is that no one will remember her name. No one will remember her after meeting her. All this changes 300 years later when she meets a boy in a library who actually remembers her name. A whole new adventure begins for Adi and for us the readers. It sounds like a very interesting read. Nothing like what we've lately read, I think, in the YA genre. And considering that the author Victoria Schwab or V. Schwab is writing a little spooky reads, I think it will be perfect for Halloween. Not exactly young adult, but I'm sure it is adult outright. Probably on the border of young adult and new adult. So a perfect spooky read. The heroine that did an ambiguous Bergen, a Bergen with the devil actually. A lot of supernatural elements, and I think I'm going to enjoy this read so much. This is also a brand new release, so you can order it now. All the links will be down below. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Midnightbergen by C.L. Polk. This story centers around Beatrice, who is a young sorceress, very talented and very skillful in magic, although she is practicing in secret because in her society only men are destined to become magus and be powerful sorcerers. The women are only meant to marry and reproduce. This is not the fate Beatrice wants for herself. She doesn't want to get married, she wants to just practice and become a powerful magus like the men around her. Beatrice actually finds a grimoire that contains the secret of becoming a magus, considering that Beatrice's family is in serious debt and the only way to get them out of this debt is for her to marry. She is in a huge dilemma. Does she get married to save her family but lose her dreams, her life, her magic forever? Or does she follow her path, condemning everyone around her? This sounds like a very interesting read that centers around family and love and the choices we make, and I'm really curious to see what Beatrice will end up choosing. It sounds really interesting because Beatrice is a witch who has to practice in secret and she wants to do something different than the stereotypes around her that only allow men to be powerful wizards and magus, and I think she sounds like a really brave heroine and I can't wait to find out how her story is going to unfold. The next book is The Once and Future Witches by Alexi Harrow. This is a historical fiction magical fantasy book. It takes place in the 1800s. This book takes place after the burning of the witches in Salem. There are no longer any witches, and being a witch means nothing more than making charms and saying rhymes. The story centers around the Eastwood sisters, one of whom is also called Beatrice, who joined the suffragists of New Salem and begin to uncover the old ways and the secrets of the witches of the past. The sisters will be hunted, they will form new alliances, and they will have to heal the bond between them because the times are dangerous, and if they want to make change, they will have to endure this danger. The tagline of this book: there's no such thing as witches, but there will be. This book sounds really interesting. I like the fact that it centers around 5 sisters who become witches. I don't know if they have any ancestors that used to be witches, but it's very interesting nonetheless. I think the sisterhood will play a huge role in this book, and I'm really interested to see that, to see the bonds between them, the relationships. I also like that it mentions actual historical facts like the burnings of the witches at the stake of Salem, and all in all I think it will be the perfect witchy read for Halloween. The next book is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. This is the first installment in a brand new series by the author of Stalking Jack the Ripper. The tagline is 2 sisters, 1 brutal murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself. and an intoxicating romance. Amelia and her twin sister Victoria are stray gay, which means they are witches living among humans in secret. One night, Victoria misses out dinner service and Amelia sets out to find her, only to find her murdered. Thus, Amelia starts trying to avenge her sister and find out who killed her. This is how Amelia finds Wrath, one of the wicked princes of hell, who tells her that he's on her side and he has been tasked by his master to help her find the killer of her sister. But when it comes to the wicked, nothing is as it seems. If you have previously read the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Kerry Maniscalco, then you know what to expect in terms of her writing style, of her pacing, of everything. This sounds like a promising start to a new series I can't wait to get my hands on. Next up, I'm going to talk about some September releases I believe are perfect candidates for every Halloween TBR. One book that I have heard so many things about and I can't wait to get into is Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This is a fantasy LGBTQ YA young adult book that focuses on Yatria, a brujo who has also problems accepting his gender. His family is a Latinx traditional family who can't really accept him for who he really is. So in order to prove himself, with the help of his cousin and best friend, he sets out to summon the ghost of his murdered cousin. But instead, the ghost summoned is Julian, who is the school's bad boy. Adriel is left with no choice, so he decides to help Julian instead. But the longer they spend time together, the less they want to be apart. This is a highly praised book that came out in September. I have certainly included it in my October TBR and my Halloween TBR because it includes ghosts, brujos, magic, also LGBTQ, and I'm always trying to read more books on this genre. So I think this is an ideal candidate and many people recommend it, so I don't know what could go wrong. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Scapegracers by Hannah Abigail Clark. This is the first book in a brand new series. And it also has an LGBTQ theme because it centers around an outcast teenage lesbian witch who finds her coven hidden among the most popular girls of the school. The name of our witch is Sideways and she has always been an outcast doing magic in secret, but when the three most popular girls of the school hire her to do a magic trick on their Halloween party, they discover she's really a witch and they form a new clique. They will have to get past many dangers and elude witch hunters, but most importantly, Sideways will learn how to have three loyal and supportive friends. This sounds like a truly magical read, not only because it actually contains magic and witches, but also because the three most popular girls of the school will prove to be very supportive and very good friends to our heroine. The next book is The Lefthanded Booksellers of London by Garth Nix. This is also a historical fiction magical young adult book. It involves a girl's quest to find her father. In the meantime, she finds out her extended family are magical fighting booksellers who police the mythical old world of England. This is set on a slightly alternative London of the 1983. Susan is searching for her father and on the way she meets Merlin, who is a left-handed bookseller. The left-handed booksellers are the fighting ones, while the right-handed booksellers are the intellectual ones. Merlin is on a quest to find the killer of his mother, together with his sister Vivian. They soon discover that their quest overlaps with that of Susan's. It sounds like a very exciting read. It includes booksellers and bookshops, and I think every bookworm is excited of this prospect. I love that Merlin is a left-handed bookseller, which means he is the fighting one, while his sister Vivian is a right-handed bookseller, who is the intellectual one. And I love the fact that their quest will involve both elements, both the fighting and the intellectuality, and I can't wait to dive into it. Another very exciting and very popular September release is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is mostly an urban fantasy YA book filled with mystery and a rich magical system. After her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree doesn't want anything to do with her family home or her memories, so she signs up for a program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill. But on her very first night on campus, she witnesses a magical attack. A flying demon is feeding on human energies, and a secret society called Lefthanded are out to hunt him. He also meets a mysterious mate who calls himself a Merlin, who tries and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything he saw, but unlocks Bree's own magic and her hidden memories of the night her mother died, when she saw another Merlin at the hospital. Now Bree remembers that her mother's death was not an accident and there's more to it, more than what the police reports are stating. So she decides to infiltrate the Lefthanded and find out what's really going on, what really happened to her mother. This was a highly anticipated release on September. It was highly hyped and I have heard so many good things about it. I'm a little bit scared to get into it, and I'm really curious to see how an urban fantasy young adult book would be like, because usually they're more on the adult category. But all in all, I'm pretty excited for this, and it sounds really mysterious, magical, and perfect for Halloween. Second to last book is Adilbu Education by Naomi Novak. This is the first book in the Solomon series. This book is set in Solomon. It is a magical school, but where failure means certain death. In this school there are no teachers, no holidays, no friendships. Survival is the most important element because the school won't let its students leave until they have graduated or have died. But all this wouldn't pose a threat for Elle because she's really powerful. Her power is so strong that she would wipe out all the masters, but there's only one problem. It would probably wipe out all the students as well. This is a dark academia magical book. It's set on a magical school that is very weird and creepy. Elle is a very powerful protagonist. She will uncover some hidden magical secrets, which is also really exciting. And I'm wondering whether she will form any friendships or at least alliances on the way. Naomi Novak is a very promising author. She has written many bestsellers. So I'm pretty sure this book will be an excellent read, especially for this time of the year. The 10th book is one that I saved for last because not only it was released in July, but it is also horror. It has some elements of historical fiction and fantasy, but it also has thriller and horror, and in my opinion it is the spookiest recommendation of this video. The book is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This book has been advertised as a feminist fantasy because it is set on a very rigid and traditional society where the protagonist was an outcast because she was just born. And then she also discovers she has some dark powers that aren't accepted by the society. Emmanuel is the product of the union of her mother with an outsider, which is a blasphemy on its own in this society. So she does her best to worship the father and follow all protocols like all the other women in the settlement. But Amy's happy lures Emmanuel into the dark wood, which is forbidden, and it's where a prophet lured and killed 4 witches. Their spirits are still there, and they bestow Emmanuel a gift, which is her mother's journal. Thus, Emmanuel discovers that her mother had sought out help from those spirits before her death. Emmanuel starts to wonder why her mother sought out help from the witches, and on her way towards the truth, she starts uncovering some hidden dark truth about the church and its history, and realizes that the true threat to the settlement is its own darkness. And if any change is said to happen, it must begin with her. As I mentioned on my previous October TBR video, this is the book I'm going to read on a bit before, a bit later, but on the day of Halloween, because it is spooky, it is magical, it has mystery in it. I think it combines all of the elements I have linked with Halloween on my mind. Please let me know in the comments below which is the ideal book for Halloween for you, which of those choices you have read or you want to read this Halloween. And thank you so much for watching. See you in another video. Bye!